The American dream belongs to all of us.
Who said that?
Kamala?
Welcome to GayTalk 2.0, the ultimate podcast for your dose of dish. It's showtime! Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of GayTalk 2.0, an LGBT podcast streaming live on Digital Stream Radio, where you can access that live stream every Monday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and you can do so by visiting digitalstreamradio.com. Tonight, we're joined by Elena Joy Thurston, who was a devout Mormon for more than 20 years and in a traditional marriage for 18 years before that. As a result of that, she confronted her internal struggle with her sexuality. After submitting herself to conversion therapy, Elena became an activist for the LGBTQ plus community, recently launching the Pride and Joy Foundation. My name is Tom, and as always, I'm here with my amazing co-host, starting with the only one of the co-hosts that are actually here.
Hey, y'all, Nick or Trish.
And our good friend Jay stepped in, of course, to help us out. So say hello.
Hello, everybody.
And I would like to welcome you all to
The Dish.
That's okay. We get it. We try. And but anyway, we've got a very amazing show. I can tell you that from experience, anytime we've ever had someone on the show to talk about anything related to the Mormon faith and how they treat members of the LGBT community, it turns into being one of the most captivating and amazing experiences and conversations we ever have on the show. Same thing happened with Linda Stay and you know, Dragon Dads and Mama Dragons and
Oh, I miss the Dragon Dads.
yeah, I know they were awesome.
I know.
And most recently, Linda Stay's daughter Amanda Barrack joined us to debut her album, and that was in itself amazing. And really, there is a very captivating story to tell when you talk about how the Mormon faith views LGBTQ people, and it's just incredible. The journey is always amazing.
It still blows my mind, though.
Yeah.
Like, people are, like, still in their head in the Mormon church where, like, gay people are, like, completely non-existent. They're so... I don't even know what I'm trying to say here.
Antiquated.
It's just,
an
like, it's
antiquated
crazy
belief.
to me.
Absolutely.
And and then not only that, to make matters worse, a lot of the people that are in places of power in the state of Utah, which is where predominantly the faith is based out of, typically will allow or cause for laws and policies that are written in that state locally at the state level to impact the population because they're writing policy based on faith most times. You can see senators that, for example, Orrin Hatch, who was a senator until recently when he retired, like in 2018, I think he retired, was pushing agendas that really hurt ordinary Americans and LGBTQ people all the time. And so, it's really not an easy situation.
Well, what's also really crazy about Elena's story is the fact that she chose to join the church before she realized that she was, in fact, a lesbian. And then she raised her 4 kids with this faith and then had to come out to them. I mean, it's a really powerful story.
Yeah, it is. And I'm super excited and I cannot wait for her to join us on the second half. But we've got Dish. We've got things that we need to talk about before we move on to segment 2. I would like to open the mic up to the people in the studio to tell us how your week has been. So I'll start off with you, Trish. How are you? How have you been?
I'm all right.
I'm all right.
Living my life. I don't know. It was my birthday this week.
That's right.
I turned 30.
Happy birthday.
Thank you. I turned 33. I'm an old lady now, and have been for a while. But yeah, no, I had a really great time. You hosted a wonderful barbecue for me. But other than that, not much really is going on.
Yeah, I'm so bummed, right? Because I'm like so excited. I went. We got steaks and we were doing like all these little things. And we had a nice little sit down dinner. I set up the table outside, very pretty and all. And then I got this bitch a cake, a chocolate cake, a cake that she cannot eat. I was so bummed. I was so hurt, but it was delicious.
I mean, after how long? You should know that I'm allergic to chocolate.
I didn't know that. Maybe I could have let you like stab yourself with my EpiPen or something.
No, I mean, it's not like I like have anaphylactic shock. I just like break out. The oils in the chocolate make my lips break out and it looks like I have herpes.
Oh, well, maybe you do. I'm
It
kidding.
only happens when I eat chocolate.
Chocolate herpes.
Chocolate herpes.
Thanks, guys. Thanks.
No, but I was super bummed because I was all excited. The cake was just cute. It was a very small personal cake. There was only 4 of us here, right?
Mhm.
Trying to social distance and keep safe and only do things in small groups. And so the cake was small, 4 people, but it was gorgeous. And I'm so mad that you weren't able to have any. So
Mhm.
I'm sorry.
It's okay.
I
I had a
owe, I
wonderful
owe
time.
you a personal like whatever you like kind of cake.
I don't know. Your birthday present was pretty great. So.
Okay, so ah, Jay,
Huh.
second time around.
Second
Come
time.
into
Welcome
the come,
back.
come into the mic, baby. Don't be scared. There you go.
I'm-
It doesn't bite.
it does not bite.
It can.
So how were you, my friend?
Tired, but
Tired?
good.
Yeah.
Busy day.
A lot of hard work today.
A lot of hard work today.
Yeah.
A lot of hard work for a couple of weeks already. So
That's amazing.
yeah.
Well, I mean, the storm really like caused a lot of damage for a lot of us. So
Yeah. Well, I got hit with a mini gust the day prior, so I ended up losing power a day ahead of everyone else.
How long did you not have power?
Actually, I lucked out. I got power the day of the storm. Um,
that's how you
Of
do
course.
it.
which was a miracle all in itself because
Right.
it was technically it happened at Monday night at 10:30. I went to bed Wednesday morning at 10 a.m. So I was up,
Wow.
yeah, all around the clock while the pole came down on my property. So I had damage to the the side wall, which is made out of cement. So I was worried about that falling over into the neighbor's driveway. So it was a big to do.
I would have went out
Um,
there with a sledgehammer, just totally destroyed that
yeah.
right onto my property.
Yeah, no, and I mean, I was having the driveway paved, so it kind of worked out. It was easy to come down, which was a great thing. One thing I do have to say, electricians make a killing.
Of course they do.
I was quoted, and then get this, I was given a break because I work for a utility company, $800 to reattach the meter back to my house.
Or
What?
what we call the conduit
The
pipe,
conduit pipe
right? That
and
holds the meter box and everything else.
But
right.
wouldn't that be the responsibility of?
no.
No. So the companies are only responsible up until the point of contact. Whatever's attached to your house is all of your
It's the
responsibility.
owner's responsibility.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
sounds like
basi-
sex, honestly.
Yes.
So then
Until
you,
point of contact.
yes, exactly. So you have to have it fixed before they can come out and reconnect your service.
Correct.
And it's a pain in the ass.
Yeah.
Wow.
But that's how it is.
So, me knowing the people I know, no,
Mm.
you know, so we had I had the lights. I'm sorry, not the lights. The lines disconnected from the house, and I have a cousin that does construction work, and we looked at it, and he's like, "Let's go to Home Depot." Came back, fixed it ourselves. $26.
Right. And he was quoted 800. Because all you needed was clamps and glue.
Clamps and glue, because the elbow didn't
my
snap;
God.
it just came loose when
So-
it toppled off.
So I'm gonna call you when I need something done to my house because I'm not dealing with that.
Yeah, it's pretty intense. Losing power, going through a storm is not easy.
It's not.
But we got through it, and we're all back and running, thankfully. And hopefully we won't have to experience something like that for a long time,
Yeah.
a long while.
Cut us a break, 2020.
Oh my God!
So-
Don't say that.
Ugh.
Literally.
Well, it's not over yet, and we're just mid-August. September's around the corner. So speaking of that, last week something monumental happened, right? You do, or I hope that you are aware that we are in the midst of one of the most important elections in our lifetime,
Yep.
which will determine which direction the country goes. Do we stay with the xenophobic, homophobic, misogynistic dickwad that's in the office, or
Who's
do
that?
we take a new path?
Trump?
Yeah, I don't speak his name. You know that. It's like Lord Voldemort. You don't speak his name.
No, I know.
He's horrible. And so we were anticipating the announcement of VP pick by our current nominee, our presumptive nominee, which is, of course, Joe Biden. And he did. He announced Kamala Harris as his VP pick to run alongside him on this ticket. And I'm excited.
Yeah, I'm so excited.
I'm excited for her because if you know Kamala, you know that she takes no shit from no one. She is a beast in the Senate. When she's having all these Senate committee hearings, I mean, she's incredible.
Yeah.
And So LGBTQNation.com posted a story about, all of Kamala's achievements and how she has impacted
Wait, before we get to that,
Yes.
I just want to talk about the fact that my parents sent me my birthday card 6 days prior to my birthday,
Mm-hmm.
and I received my birthday card today.
That's crazy.
It's crazy. So I called my grandpa and I was like, "Hey, grandpa, I just want to call and say thank you and all this stuff." He's like, "This administration is fucking this country up. Like, I'm about to be 90. Like, I'm out of here, but like, what are you gonna do? Like, this is bad."
Yep.
Just
You should
talking
have
about
you
just
should have
talking
just said,
about
"Grandpa,
the
talk to your son and
oh, I
talk
know.
to talk to your
Seriously.
daughter-in-law."
But like, what is going on with the United States Postal Service?
Well,
Like,
so let's talk about that a little bit. So, not too long ago, sometime last week, Dump went on television and said that he had no plans in funding the U.S. Postal Service with any funding that would help it continue to operate on a normal basis because they were impacted by COVID. A lot of people are not mailing stuff. Let's face it. When was the last time I bought a stamp? Right.
oh, I have
So
stamps.
the post office is hurting, right? A lot of things are done online and things of that nature, so they need money and funding. He's refusing to do it. And he clearly went on national television and said that the reason why he was not doing it specifically was because it would help in not having people vote by mail. And so, as a result of that, not only did he do that and say that those were his intentions on national television, he also um, fired a whole bunch of people
And hired somebody, didn't
in
he?
high places in the Postal
Yep.
Service organization and then implanted or put people that are loyal to him. And some of the things that they're starting to do now is that they're talking about removing sorting machines right before an election that would allow the post office to meet the demands of making sure that the ballots that are being sent out by the states get to where they need to by election day.
So now you actually posted something that's really important to talk about.
That's right. So I on my Facebook posted, you got to remember that while you can in states that do allow vote by mail, which a lot of states I believe do under certain circumstances, that you can do that. You can mail them in, or you can go to your local county clerk or registrar's office, look for a ballot box that's located in your district or in your area, and you can go and drop it off in person. You don't need to utilize the U.S. Postal Service for that. So you have that option, and you can do it up until the day of the election itself. You can walk up to your registrar's office and drop it off in a box or wherever they need you to drop it off in. And so you don't need to go to a polling place, but you can go there. And I think that is important for people to know because while we are trying to figure out how we're going to navigate an election
Mhm.
through COVID and through the Postal Service, given all of the turmoil that's occurring, you still have options.
Yeah. I mean, I was lucky because I did mail-in voting for the primaries.
Right.
I got my ballot. I filled it out. I put it in the mail plenty of time. Like, I wasn't worried about it. But you did the same thing, and you didn't get it until...
I got it the very next day. I got it the very next day after voting had already ended. And so I sent my Secretary of State a scathing email saying that this is unacceptable. I submitted for my ballot 4 weeks ago. I went on, I signed up, I said, send me a ballot because I want to vote by mail. And I never got it. And my postman came the very next day after the election, the primary here in Connecticut, and there was my ballot.
Mhm.
And I think that's unacceptable.
100%. I mean, like, I don't disagree with you. I mean,
I went in.
I wouldn't want my grandfather to be going into a place where he has to vote in person.
And especially in a state like Florida, that
And
the
the fa-
cases are astronomical
And the
right
fact
now.
that it took 2 weeks to mail a card,
Mm-hmm.
that's crazy.
Yeah. So it's troubling.
I wanted to actually, you said go to the registrar's office,
Mhm.
or
Yeah.
I would probably suggest for individuals before they go, because unfortunately sometimes they will tell you have to go elsewhere.
Mhm.
Call
Yeah.
and confirm that those ballot boxes are available in those locations.
Even if they decide that they want to shut down the offices. One of the other things that
Exactly.
you need to keep in mind, and I know this is sad to say, but
The Republic.
if you're going to mail, right? If you're going to mail your ballot, mail it from the most white affluent neighborhood you can find in your state. And the reason why I say that is because I can see and I foresee that all of a sudden there's going to be an issue in low income areas
Oh yeah.
with mailing and blah blah
Oh.
blah. So find your most white affluent neighborhood, go there and put that ballot in the mailbox there, because I can guarantee you those will go. Those will they'll make sure that those get to where they need to go. And but that is important, and we need to make sure that you know, you do your duty. You know, this is literally life or death for a lot of Americans in this country as to whether or not we're taking a new direction or going down the path of destruction. So now, back to Kamala. So, the vice president, of course, our former vice president, who is now our presumptive presidential nominee, picked Kamala Harris as his running mate. I'm excited, but as I was saying, LGBTQNation.com had posted a story about all of the contributions and things that Kamala herself has done. Being that she is or was the former attorney general for the state of California. She's currently the senator, one of the senators for that state. Um, and when he chose her, he, in announcing it, he basically said the following, and I'm going to quote. He says, "You make a lot of important decisions as president, but the first one is who you select to be your vice president. I have decided that Kamala Harris is the best person to help me take the fight to Donald Trump and Mike Pence, and then lead this nation starting in January of 2021." Biden wrote in an email for his campaign and supporters, which is very important. Kamala Harris has effectively been campaigning for LGBTQ votes for years. Once she was admitted to the bar in 1990, she started as her long career as a prosecutor. First as an assistant prosecutor in the Bay Area, and then San Francisco's district attorney, and finally becoming the state attorney general for the state of California. So this woman has been exposed to and has a lot of, experience dealing with issues in the LGBT community, serving a city like San Francisco, right? For decades, we've known that DeCastro and San Francisco has one of the highest LGBTQ populations in our nation.
Hmm. But I think what's also really important to note is the fact that she will be the first black woman
Hmm.
on a national ticket.
Right. And not only so, she is half black. Her father was black. Her mother was American Indian, not American as in Native American Indian, but Indian from India, but here as an American. And so she's got a very, very interesting background when it comes to being a person of color that I think will resonate with a lot of Americans.
And I think it's really amazing to see, and we've talked about this on the show, especially with BLM going on right now
Hmm.
and everything, seeing communities, minority communities coming together. She has always been a huge supporter of the LGBTQ plus community,
Right.
and to have the first ever potential VP be a black woman who is a super supporter of the LGBTQ plus community is just like, it gives me chills. Like
Right.
like when she got announced, I was so excited. This happened a day before my birthday, so I'm like, I'm not saying it was, me or anything, but it
But
might
she
have
was
been a
happy.
little bit of me.
So, what are your thoughts on Kamala?
Honestly, I never really followed her
Mm,
prior, so I'm going. I guess as everything comes out, I'm kind of reading,
right.
and this, of course, with all the praises, there's a lot of negativity also
Oh yeah.
But you're also
being
not
told.
very
But
political either. Like,
yeah, I'm not a big
I'm sorry that out of all shows you
following
decided to like
to
come
come
join us
today.
during,
No,
a
but
political
yeah.
segment.
But I mean, it's important, and that goes to show you if you're not well informed,
Hmm.
you may not make those decisions correctly.
You're right.
So on my part, my bad. I'm
Hmm.
kind of like off the record with everything that's been going on. I've been so busy with everything else going on that it's kind of like, okay, let me see what's going on.
And that's why I
What's happening
think,
now?
and that's why I think it's important for us to mention stuff like this on the
Yeah.
show, right? With COVID and everything going on, we have a lot. It's very stressful right now for a lot
Yeah.
of Americans, and so we need to stay focused on the task at hand, and that is getting this man out of office. But I wanted to just, you know, briefly note that as San Francisco District Attorney, according to the story again published on LGBTQNation.com, she created a special hate crime unit focused on crimes against LGBTQ children and teens. She pushed for legislation to ban the gay or transgender panic defense, and to also ban conversion therapy
Hmm.
for minors in that state. She vigorously opposed Proposition 8. That was the state's anti-marriage measure that provided legal arguments against it, which was cited in the Supreme Court case when it was overturned. When Proposition 8 was finally struck down, Harris presided over the wedding of the couple who brought the suit against that initiative in the state of California. Not only that, we cannot forget to mention the fact that this woman single handedly questioned Brett Kavanaugh. Kavanaugh, if you don't remember, was the Supreme Court justice who was just recently appointed, the most recent one, who went through a very, very hectic confirmation hearing because of the allegations that were brought up against him from women who he went to school with when he was at Yale, which Yale happens to be in our backyard. And so she was questioning him to the point where this man almost cried. I mean, I remember watching the courageous testimony of Christine Blasey Ford while she was sitting there describing her ordeal and what she had to go through with Kavanaugh, and I could see the fire and the fury in Kamala's eyes and the way she was talking to him that literally fueled the reaction that we saw in him, where the man like literally just lost it. He completely lost it. And not only that, she also had questioned him on his stances on marriage equality, and rightfully so. I mean, we're talking about the last justice that was just brought into the Supreme Court, who happens to be a conservative justice, that could potentially affect, based on whatever rulings or dissents that he does, or where he sides on things, could potentially affect a lot of Americans who are currently seeking equal rights.
Yeah, no, yeah. She has done amazing stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, but every nominee has their skeletons.
Oh, of course.
And they will come out, especially with our current administration. And
Of
we have
course.
to be aware of that. But we also have to be aware of the fact that, like, our current administration, their skeletons and, like, the things that they do from day to day are in no way comparable to
Right.
anything Kamala has done or Joe has done, from my understanding.
Well, I mean,
And the fact that people harp on it,
Right.
especially Trumpers,
Right.
I'm like, literally, a Trump supporter will be like, oh, well, yeah, well, he said that I could, stand in the middle of Fifth Avenue and shoot somebody in the face.
and nothing would happen. He would completely get away with it.
Yeah,
it's
I mean, like, shit like that. I mean, like, and the fact that he hasn't released his tax returns. I mean, like, we could go on for days about the Trump administration. Meanwhile, they're gonna start digging up all this stuff on Kamala and Joe, and we
Well-
have to be aware that it might have some,
and Joe said it. We need to make sure we stand by Kamala. But here's a silver lining in all of this. She was one of the many presidential hopefuls when we started our primary process,
I
right?
know.
She was the first one that declared that she was going to run for president. So when she did that, the media on both sides had already dug up as much as they could on her.
Mhm.
So what else is there left to dig up? My thing is,
No.
she was running for president, right? Knock on wood and all the heads. So really, I think she's in a good spot when it comes to that.
Mhm.
I think at this point, it's just basically going to be like conspiracy theories. Like right now, they're arguing, well, the president is touting once again another black person running for office, as to whether or not they're even legally eligible to be
Mhm.
vice president because they may or may not have been born here.
Yeah.
It's starting again. I mean, he's got a playbook, and it seems to work with his base. We need to be smarter.
That's because he thinks it's white America. We need to, but
Yeah.
He just needs
So-
to be removed. from
So
office,
I'm
period.
excited. I'm excited to see where this campaign goes. Just a reminder that the Democratic National Convention starts tonight. Coverage probably starts within an hour or two. So hopefully, once we're done with the show, we'll be able to look and see what's going on. But I can tell you, Michelle Obama's speaking tonight.
yes.
So I'm excited about that, and hopefully, we'll see something positive and some good news come out of this this particular event. It's going to be an online event. It's not going to be in a stadium anywhere like Trump did, that exposed hundreds of people to COVID in Tulsa, Oklahoma, out of all places. So that's good, and I'm excited. So, my God, I need to take a breath.
Yeah, take us a break.
So we do have another story that we want to talk about. It's a little infuriating and crazy. I wanted to give you the option to either do it now or we can do it after our guest.
We should probably go to break.
Okay, we can do that.
Just because of timing, and
Okay.
then we can come back and talk about everything else.
All right. Well, as our dear beloved Trish has said, we're going to go ahead and take a break. We'll leave you with some music. And when we come back, we're going to have our guest. Of course, I'm excited for her because again, her story is going to be amazing. Elena Joy Thurston will join us. Here's some music. We'll be right back.
My head gets caught in the moment, but my heart doesn't know it. Heart doesn't know it. Somehow I'm lost in the lonely, but it's too hard to show it. Too hard to show it. Danse avec moi, danse avec moi, danse avec moi. Do I fall in? Do I fall in? Do I fall in? I travel down the west coast with sun on my shoulders. The sun's on my shoulders. My heart's a winding road, but I can't control it, and nobody knows it. Do I fall in love? 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 You are the one to open my eyes, and you are the one to make me think twice, and you are the one I wanna spend my life with. You are the one, you're looking so nice, and when I'm with you, I'm in paradise, spending my days thinking about you, baby. You are the one I wanna be with, and you're on my mind, I just can't forget you. You are the one I'm gonna spend my life with. Oh baby, do I fall in? Do I fall in? Do I fall in? Do I? Do I? Do I? Do I? Do I? Do I? Do I fall in? Do I? Do I? Do I? Do I? Do I? Do I? Do I fall in? Do I fall in? Do I fall in? So when I look at you, could jump in a swimming pool, stimulate my appetite. Look so very, very nice. Won't you come over and play? Like every day's a Saturday, and the sun's out. From Atlanta down to Florida, got your bare chest and you show it. You're sexy and you know it. You're sexy and you know it. So like a tall glass of water, got me thirsty, can't take myself off you. When you're shirtless, when you're shirtless. And like a flashback to middle school, I lost my cool. What do I do? When you're shirtless, when you're shirtless. Pinch me, this feels like a dream. You're the best I ever seen. All your muscles and your veins, oh, they're driving me insane. Raise my hands and sing in praise, thanking God for what He made. And the sun's out. From Paris to New Orleans, you're tanning, you're golden, you're sexy and you know it. You're sexy and you know it. So like a tall glass of water, got me thirsty, can't take myself off you. When you're shirtless, when you're shirtless. And like a flashback to middle school, I lost my cool. What do I do? When you're shirtless, when you're shirtless. When I come knocking at shirtless. Just me? Is it getting hot in here? Is this a fantasy or a mirage in here? I have a pep talk to myself in the mirror, and I'm doing this. I'm brushing off my fears. From Atlanta down to Florida, got your bare chest and you show it. You're sexy, and you know it. You're sexy, and you know it. From Paris to New Orleans, you're tan and you're golden. You're sexy, and you know it. You're sexy, and you know it. Like a tall glass of water when I'm with you, wanna take your picture when you're shirtless. When you're shirtless, makes me nervous. So like a tall glass of water, got me thirsty, can't take myself off you. When you're shirtless, when you're shirtless. Like a flashback to middle school, I lost my cool, I do. When you're shirtless, when you're shirtless. When I come knocking at your door and you're shirtless, makes me nervous. You got me feeling insecure when you're shirtless. I get nervous when you're shirtless. When you're shirtless, and you know it. You're sexy when you're shirtless. To New Orleans, when you're shirtless, sexy, and you know it. When you're shirtless, Greeted by a new sunrise. Tomorrow's hopes are in my eyes. Paints horizons in the sky that's meant for me, meant for me. Ready now to face the day. Done with fears of yesterday. Waited long enough to say I'm on the way. I'm on the way. I believe. I believe. Greeted by a new sunrise. Tomorrow's hopes are in my eyes. Paints horizons in the sky that's meant for me, meant for me. I believe in love at first sight. Some things are worth the fight. Some you learn to say goodbye, like letting go. I believe. To me that's sufficient. I believe.
She was waiting by the back door
Said, babe, we gotta leave town. Get your shit, get your suitcase, your dog, your guitar, 'cause we gotta go now, 'cause they're coming. Well, they know our fucking names, yes, they're coming. Just to say, well, I know you don't want to leave your life. You've had some blood and tears, little joy, little strife, but they're coming. Well, they're coming down the road, yes, they're coming. Truth be told, and don't forget the whiskey, and don't forget your history. It was never their land in the first place, but they're coming just the same. Got a knapsack full of judgment, hypocrisy, and lies. And they're talking so much hateful bullshit, they've begun to gather flies. But they're coming. Well, don't look 'em in the eyes. Yes, they're coming. No surprise. And with so much terror in our past, how are you so surprised it's come to bite you in the ass? Yes, it's coming. Well, it's nipping at your heels. Yes, it's coming for the kill. And don't forget the whiskey, and don't forget your history. It was never their land to sell or trade. No, don't forget the whiskey, and don't forget your history. It was never their land in the first place, but they're coming just the same. So I'll meet you at the station where we can get on that train. Head out to the wastelands where we can change our names, 'cause they're coming. Well, they know our fucking names. Yes, they're coming. Just the same. Just the same. Just the same. Just the same.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back from the break. That was the incredible Amanda Barrick. Of course, her debut album just released on July 31st. She was also a previous guest of ours. We were super excited to have her on the show. She's the daughter of Linda Stay, who was just an incredible person to have on the show as well. And now, joining us, of course, is Elena Joy Thurston. She is the founder of the Pride and Joy Foundation. The Pride and Joy Foundation is dedicated to building self-awareness and safety in the LGBT community, families, and their allies. So I would like to welcome you, Elena, to the show. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited to be here.
So before we get started, I know that myself and Nick had talked previously before. Obviously, this is Nick. My name is Tom.
Nick.
And then this
Hi.
is our friend Jay, who joined
Jay.
us today for today's show.
Hi, Jay.
Hi.
So before we get started, why don't we just open the mic up to you? Tell us who you are. Tell us a little bit about you, and then we can jump into our conversation.
Absolutely. So I am Elena Joy. I live in Arizona, so we are sweating balls right now.
Oh.
It is so hot.
I can imagine. Hopefully you have air conditioning. That's important.
Oh yes.
Ah.
Oh yeah. It's like law here. We have to have air conditioning. So yeah, live in Arizona. I'm a mom of 4 beautiful kids. I had been a professional photographer, and I had been married to a man for 18 years, had those 4 beautiful kids, and was very, not just a little, but very with a capital V, Mormon, very Mormon. And then when I was 37, I completely and totally fell in love with my best friend, and then realized, oh crap, now I can't get into heaven. So I enrolled myself in conversion therapy and tried to fix myself basically. And that led to the same place it does for 42% of people who do conversion therapy. It led to suicidal thoughts. And it got to the point where I realized I wanted my kids to have a mom, not a dead mom, but a gay mom if that's what was needed.
Right.
So it was more important to me that they had me in their life than that I died them thinking I was straight.
So
So
you, aside from all of the amazing things that you're doing with the
mhm,
foundation and everything, you did a TED Talk
I did.
not too long ago, and it was a mesmerizing experience, at least for me and Nick. We had an opportunity to watch it earlier today, in where you were talking about these struggles, and you were talking about, self awareness and finding yourself throughout this whole
Mm,
process. And then you were talking about all the things that you were doing to get rid of the gay per se, right? You
yeah.
ran marathons. You literally, one of the my favorite lines that you said in that entire presentation was when you say, and I quote, "I was able to run half marathons, but my heart could never stop being attracted to her." Can you
Yeah.
talk about that experience a little bit, being doing the TED Talk and telling the world your story?
Whew, that was intense. That was really intense. I did the TED Talk because I want to write a book. And I was told I needed to get a certain amount of followers in
Mm.
order to get a book publishing deal. So I'm not great on the internet. Like, I'm pretty awkward on the internet. And so I knew I wasn't going to get like a ton of followers on any of the social media channels. But what I can do is public speaking. I'm a pretty good public speaker. So I wanted to lean into my strengths and I figured, all right, well, if there's ever a time to do a TED Talk, it's now. So I went for the application process, and what was amazing was how it all happened. I ended up with the Colorado Springs TED Talk location. And I don't know if you know this, but also headquartered in Colorado Springs is Focus on the Family, which is a huge supporter of conversion therapy.
Mm.
Hmm.
And so they wanted that talk there
Mm.
because they wanted to kind of stick it to Focus on the Family.
And it sends a
Proud of them.
message.
Awesome.
Yeah. So that was an incredible experience. I will never forget it. The dress rehearsal was actually the hardest part. Um, in the talk, I talk about the day, September 27th, 2017, that I was going to take my own life. And the dress rehearsal day was September 27th.
Wow.
So
Wow.
it was 2 years to the day that I was then standing on stage giving this talk, feeling obviously a lot healed. And so dress rehearsal day, I was just crying through the entire thing. I could barely get the words out. So luckily the next day was when all the cameras were there and the whole audience was there, and I was able to actually get it all out. I was pretty concerned about that.
There was a part in that TED Talk, and I'm sorry that I'm focusing so much on this, but that's just how
No.
amazing it was, where you started talking about the possibility of having to come out to your children, and you started crying on stage, and you
Oh
were
yeah.
talking about your amazement at these four young, beautiful children that you have, on how well they received the news that mom was gay.
Mhm. Yes, I wish I could go back and tell my younger self that they weren't going to freak out. They weren't going to go running to their dad's house. They were going to kind of shrug and be like, okay, like
Mm.
that is where kids these days are. Like
Right.
nothing is that big a deal to them,
But you had
even their mom being gay.
but you had also said that your two oldest, which are both
Hmm.
boys, they
Hmm.
are very devout in their religion, and I don't know if they still are, but that was kind of part of the reason why you were so nervous to tell them after you had told your two youngest.
Yeah. Yes, they both are still very devout. In high school Mormons go to, it's called seminary. So it's a religious class in the middle of your school day. And the Mormon church will build church buildings right next to high schools so that the kids can just walk over during their release time and get that class. So my kids, yeah, they do that. My high schoolers, 6 days a week, they hear lessons from the Mormon church that their mom is not going to heaven and that they are no longer sealed to me eternally.
But how does that how do they react to that? Like they're still obviously they love you, you're their mom. Like
Mhm.
how do they take that in as devout Mormons?
Yeah, every issue that comes up, it's kind of like a new dance that we do. Like on one hand, my 16-year-old will tell me, Mom, they're just all old guys. And when they die, like new leadership will come up and
That's what we're saying, but anyway.
right? And I want to be like, yeah, that's legit because that happened with black people in the priesthood. Up until 1978, the Mormons did not allow black men to hold the priesthood. So they couldn't be married in the temple, they couldn't have the full rights of the church. And that changed in 1978. It happens to be that the NCAA was about to sue BYU, but regardless, in 1978, they received revelation that black people could now hold the priesthood. So, of
Yeah.
course, my boys, yes, are thinking eventually mom will get to be able to be a part of the church again and she'll be able to get to go to heaven again. That is hard for me to believe because the basis of the church is that you get married in the temple so that you can eventually be exalted and be a god and a god's wife and have your own earth, and that doesn't work with two women.
Right. But like, do you actually would if things changed, would you want to actually go back?
In a short answer, no, I wouldn't want to go back. In a longer answer, I really miss my friends.
Yeah.
I really miss knowing all my neighbors. You know, there's a few things I really miss. I miss having a Sunday activity that my kids are required to sit next to me. You know what I mean? Like
Mhm.
that kind of stuff I miss. I do not miss. The fact is, you know, you were talking about how the TED Talk was me um, getting to know myself and becoming aware of myself. And I think a huge reason why I wasn't able to do that until my late 30s was because I was told who I was.
Right.
You are a child of God, you are a wife, you are a mom, and those are the only roles that matter.
Mhm. And so to back it up a little bit more, we can talk a little bit about the fact that you had a rough upbringing,
Yeah.
and you made the choice to join the Mormon Church. And
Yes.
I'm personally wondering now, as an out lesbian,
Yeah.
how that makes you feel. I mean, you raised 4 kids.
Mhm.
You have I'm assuming a beautiful family, but
Mhm.
now you are this empowered, amazing woman that is doing so much for the LGBTQ plus community. Like, how does that make you feel having made that choice back then?
You know, the worst part of my day is when Facebook memories or time hop pops up and I
Mm.
see something that I posted like 8 years ago. Like, for example, I fought really hard against Prop 8 in California
Hmm.
because that's what we were told to do. I mean, we were told to go door to door to fight against that. So, yeah, when I see those quotes and things that I used to say and I used to think, it's really hard to not be ashamed and embarrassed. However, I do know that I was surrounded by very good people for a long time. I learned a lot about motherhood. I would have really struggled in motherhood even more than I did if I hadn't been surrounded by very family focused people. You know, I feel like stay-at-home moms have like their master's degree in parenting because they're so in it, right?
Mhm.
And there I was like surrounded by stay-at-home moms. So even though I hadn't grown up in a family-focused environment, I was able to create one because of who I was surrounded by.
Right.
So I don't regret that I was part of the church. I regret that I gave up my critical thinking skills. I regret that I wasn't more empowered to ask questions of myself and of the organization, but I don't regret my time in it.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And looking at your time with the Mormon Church and where you are now, how do you feel about the Mormon Church? Like, there are they moving in a progressive direction? Do you feel like it's a healthier place for people?
Wow, that's a good
I'm
question.
sorry, you said
No,
like we could talk about
let's
anything.
do it. Let's go there. How do I feel about the Mormon church? I wish with my whole heart that I could just walk away and just be like, hey, kids, you want to be Mormon? Cool. It's the same as, I don't know, being Buddhist or being a vegetarian. Like, do your thing. This is your journey. I'm going to support you, whatever you want. I want to be that person
Yeah.
badly. Unfortunately, the reality is, let me give you an example. My sons want to go on missions. you've seen Mormon elders, right, with their white shirts and their ties and everything. My sons have been raised since they were toddlers that they're going to go on a mission. Well, there's a rule that hasn't quite been taken off the books. It's kind of been brushed under the covers that if you have a gay parent, you have to get very special permission from the prophet himself in order to go on a mission.
Hmm.
So it's very possible my boys are going to be denied that opportunity because of who I am. So that's a little frustrating. But then the next part in that is I'm sure you've seen Mormon temples. There's like a really big one in Boston, there's one in New York City. They're all over the world, and they're not just our Sunday buildings, but they're like the big buildings where like weddings happen and all that kind of stuff happens. You have to present evidence of your worthiness in order to walk in the building. And so all of us went through these yearly interviews with our bishop to prove that we were worthy. And then he would sign this little card and hand it over to us. And that's how you'd get in the building. Okay, so my sons are now teenagers and they want to go in the building. So they're doing their worthiness interviews with the bishop. And that's where the bishop can ask them anything like, do you masturbate? Do you watch porn? Et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Answering yes to any of those means you are not worthy to go in the temple.
So indirectly, I mean, let's be honest, they have to lie.
But my boys won't lie.
Hmm.
And so as we sat in that interview and the bishop says to my son, do you support any person or organization that does not support the teachings of the church? And he has to look at me and say, Mom, I love you, but I don't support you.
God. My
And
heart
then
is
to have the
literally
bishop, right? And then to have the bishop respond, because I immediately look across the desk at this 30-year-old random guy who's been put in charge of my son's life. And I look at him and he responds by saying, that's very mature of you, Marcus. Good job.
wow.
So how can I be okay with the church? I don't know how to be okay with the church.
Right.
And then you go back to last March, right before COVID hit. BYU is the big Mormon school in Utah, right? With the football and all the basketball and all of that. And so they have an honor code that you have to abide by if you go to school there, right? No drinking, no smoking, no drugs, no sex, but also no same sex dating of any kind. And if you get caught, you will get expelled because that's in violation of the honor code. Or if you work for them and you get caught, you will be fired because that's the honor code. Last March, they tweeted. That's all they did. They tweeted and said, by the way, we've changed the honor code rules. You can have a same sex relationship as long as you don't have sex.
Hmm.
And so people freaked out. People went on Twitter and called the office and was like, is this true? Is this real? And they confirmed this is real. Hundreds of students and staff came out. All of a sudden, there were pictures all over campus of women kissing and men kissing and professors with their pride flags. And it lasted for 1 week. And then the church changed their mind.
And they pushed all of them out, didn't they?
That's right.
That's horrible.
So it was a carefully calculated attack.
Yeah, because you had hundreds of people come
100%.
out and then they
100%.
knew.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
a setup. It was a setup
was a
to see
total
who was
setup.
with or who was not.
That's right.
So the Mormon faith blows my mind, and we can talk about this for hours.
We could, yeah. we could.
And maybe one day we will. But I want to talk about one more thing before we jump into this amazing foundation that you're running. I want to talk about your experience when you came out, right before you came out, and you decided, I'm going to do conversion therapy. We know that it's being banned in states across the nation now, very slowly, not all of them, but it is a horrible experience, and it leads to, like you already said, 42% of people want to, or think about committing suicide. We already know that the LGBT community has the highest suicide rate, especially in our youth,
especially in the state of Utah.
And I know that you went into it hoping to maybe fix yourself or change your life so that you didn't have to get a divorce or whatever.
Yeah.
But I want to talk about that experience. What was that like for you?
Yeah, awesome. I want people to know what that was like because so many of the podcasts that I go on, the hosts are like, does that even exist? I'm like,
Yeah.
yes, it
Yes, it does.
exists in your
Mhm.
town, I promise. So, okay, so he was just a guy who had been a licensed therapist for a really long time. And he was very clear that he wasn't licensed anymore. He said it just took too much to redo the paperwork, a lot of time and money. And so now he was calling himself a coach.
Hmm.
Okay, so I was okay with that. And he said basically, something happened to you when you were a kid that made you think that you're attracted to women. It was probably a traumatic experience. And so we're going to go back and we're going to heal that experience. And then you won't be attracted to women anymore. You won't be in this struggle anymore. And that sounds legit, doesn't
Yeah.
it?
I mean,
Like,
Did you ever find
yeah.
what happened in your youth that triggered?
Yeah. So, a month or two went by, and his process is that you do a specific breathing technique, and it kind of puts your brain in a funny state where you can go back in memories and they come back really strong, and you can smell things and hear things and see things that you had totally forgotten about, right? So, like a month or two had gone by, and we hadn't found the event. And he told me it was only going to take a month or two, but he was like, "You must not be telling me something." And I dredged up from the bottom of my soul this experience I had had when I was 15. I had been gang raped when I was 15. And he was absolutely convinced that's it. That's what made you think you're gay. So we're going to heal that. So we spent the next 4 months. It was 4 days a week, 2 hours a day, reliving that memory. And sometimes we would change the ending, right? Or the cops would come, or I would fight back, or all these things trying to heal the memory. And then I became very suicidal, and my plan was in place, and I was ready to go through with it. And I was very privileged that I got help very quickly.
mm-hmm.
And part of that help was getting, for the first time in my life, anti-anxiety meds and antidepressant meds, which meant I could sleep
Mm-hmm.
for the first time in so long. And every time I woke up, life looked more clear and I was connecting more dots. And two of the dots that I ended up connecting were, it was during the time of the Brett Kavanaugh trials,
Mm,
right?
we were just
And
talking
the
about
Me
that
Too
earlier.
movement was happening
Hmm.
like gangbusters. And we were seeing all these headlines. 75% of American women have been assaulted in their lifetime. And I finally connected the dots. 75% of American women are not gay.
Mm-hmm.
Like maybe 5% of American women are gay. The numbers don't add up. These things don't correlate. So that's how I was able to stop going. Was I was able to realize this isn't working. This isn't legit.
Mm-hmm. But you had also said too in your TED talk that um, you actually can't be certified in this type of therapy. So it's actually not a type of therapy. I don't know if that's something you want to talk about a little bit.
Can't even teach it.
Absolutely. So right. So one of my biggest regrets is that I like put blinders on when I was going into that. I did not Google even the guy's name. I didn't Google, can you be fixed from being gay? Because the answer would have been no, right? I didn't Google the name of the therapy, so I didn't know it was conversion therapy. And therefore, I didn't Google, like, what schools have the best programs to train therapists in this, right? Or like, what continuing ed do you need to have to do this? I literally put more research into reading the reviews for the bath towels I bought on Amazon than I did in deciding to go to this therapy. Like, it was just, I was in such a desperate space that I stopped critical thinking. And I think that's what can be so dangerous for people, is that they will walk into this situation
Mm-hmm.
or they will send their kids into this situation
And
because
that's
they just don't realize they're so desperate.
and that's the
Right.
scariest thing. I mean, how old were you? If you don't mind me asking, how old were you when you went into this therapy?
I was 37.
Right. Imagine a 12-year-old or a
Yeah.
14-year-old. I mean, like they're still developing. Like there's no way they can handle that type of thing. I mean, you struggled with it. You had a
Yeah.
friend literally that pulled you from the darkest place that you have ever been. So I mean, clearly conversion therapy needs to go away 100% because it's not even a real thing.
It's not even a real thing.
It's our version of
No.
backyard mechanics.
Pretty much.
It is. You don't go to the cheapest guy to get the job done right. And that's
Mm,
basically what that was. I mean, that guy was
But I
making
mean,
it up as
even
he went.
even with mechanics, though, you have an opportunity to get it right.
Yes.
The problem here is that, with conversion therapy, you can't fix something when
That's
there's
not
nothing
broken.
wrong with it.
Yeah.
And I
And
think
yeah.
I think those type of people actually take advantage of your situation.
Yes.
You're desperate.
Hmm.
You're trying to figure out where you're going. You need answers, and you need
Mm-hmm.
answers yesterday, not
Yeah.
tomorrow, not in 2 months, because you're
Mm-hmm.
trying to figure out where am I headed with this? Where am I going with my
Mm-hmm.
family? Where am I going with my partner or my
Mm-hmm.
significant other? Is
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a challenge, and unfortunately, you have people that actually capitalize on those issues,
That's right.
not knowing what damage they're actually causing.
100%.
so you've gone through this horrific, but in a sense, life-changing experience, which led you to start the Pride and Joy Foundation.
Mm.
Tell us your motivation behind launching this, and then tell us a little bit about the foundation and how we, as host of the show, and
Mm-hmm.
our listeners, and anyone that gets to hear your work, how we can help in your mission.
Yeah. So it's fairly new and it is one of the blessings of COVID. So after the TED Talk, I was asked to speak a lot. And it was awesome because that's how I was supporting my family. And I was good at it and I could affect people. It was great, right? And then March 17th happened
Hmm.
Hmm.
and I had 8 talks cancel within 24 hours. My entire April and May calendar gone. And at the same time, that thing happened with BYU where they had like changed the rule and then changed it back, right? And so one of those talks that I was going to was going to be a fundraiser in Utah to raise money so that kids who needed to transfer could. And it was going to be a talk where I could show up and I could hug those poor BYU kids that had just literally put their lives on the line, right? And that was canceled. And so these kids were in my messages all over the place. And they were like, we really needed to hear from you because now we're going home. We're being quarantined. My parents didn't know. Like, no one knew. And now everyone knows. And I don't know how to be quarantined with this Mormon family. And that was when the frustration and the anxiety just really built. And I was on the phone with my business coach and she was like, tell me what happens right after you give a talk. And I said, honestly, people just want a hug. Something I've said has pricked something and they just need a hug. And she said, how are you going to extend that hug after your talk?
Hmm.
And I was like, oh, geez. Yeah, it's time for the nonprofit. Like, it's time to do this. So we have a big goal of doing a family conference, an LGBTQ family conference where everyone, the kids and the parents, can come together and learn all kinds of stuff. We also want to do a family summer camp where all the queer families can come and run around in the forest and fish and climb trees and do fun things and feel normal and feel regular. You know what I mean? Um, so those are our big goals. And so what we do in the interim to try to cover the foundations like monthly bills and things is that we have a group, an empowerment group that you can be a part of. And the goal of it is to teach self-awareness concepts to increase confidence within these LGBTQ families, especially those kids. I feel like those kids really need that self-awareness and that's how they are going to build their self-esteem and their confidence. So yeah, and we offer a few other products. We've got journals and classes and stuff, but
And
yeah, it's
so, how long has the foundation been around for now?
only since March,
Okay.
only since COVID started.
All right. And have you been raising funds since to support it?
Yes, trying.
Okay.
I,
So,
I yeah.
I'm sorry. How can people support it? Like, where can they go to, like, you know, donate or just
Yeah.
learn from?
Hmm. So the prideandjoyfoundation.com is the website, and we have products there for people that they can purchase and support the organization. I haven't gotten to a comfort level in just saying, give me money.
Oh, I'll help you with that. Just give me a call.
So I'm still like providing things in exchange for money, but I know eventually I probably need to
Yeah.
just put a donate button on the site and be good with it.
Yeah, you need to do that today.
Yeah, that's going to be very important.
I used to work in fundraising, so
Oh man, you know a lot more than me. I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm trying.
no, I mean, but literally, you have to think about the reality is what you're doing. This organization is such an easy sell. I mean, when you're asking people that have money or companies that have money, they literally have a budget to give you money. People have money they want to get rid of for tax write-offs.
Mhm.
Like there are certain individuals around the country, certain companies around the country that want to support things like this and tie their names to organizations like this because not only are they supporting you and supporting your organization, but they're actually getting visibility that's like, oh, I'm a
Mhm.
good person or a good company, right? I know that sounds screwed up, but that's the reality of it.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Yes.
Get that money.
Yes, I need to. I'm
It's-
gonna listen to this podcast like on repeat, so I can listen to what you just said.
It sounds so transactional, but he's right. I mean, I work for an organization that, again, they have a foundation and all they want to do is just give money.
Mhm.
And so they had solicited their employees to suggest what foundations or what local nonprofits we could donate to. So we had to write a little essay and as employees and suggest and
Wow.
they selected a very large number of these organizations that got, whether it's a $5,000 donation, whether it's one time or every month or every other month or every quarter. It's out there, it's available, and all you need to do is just reach out to them.
Yep.
And it's just they're willing and able to give you money, and we're willing and able to let people know that you exist and that the work that you're doing is important, right? And that there are children and parents and humans that lives depend on the work that people like you do every day. The people who have gone through the experience that you have gone through and come out of it on the other side much stronger, much more enlightened in life, and that you can share that gift with someone else who might be struggling through the same thing. It is important and beautiful and necessary. And there are people out there that are willing to give you money for that.
And honestly, too, like if I were you and I were going on a meeting to get money, I would literally just bring an iPad and show them your TED Talk. I'm not even kidding you. I'm 100% serious. Like,
Shit you not.
Like so every meeting you go on where I went on, it was about an hour long. In the first like 15 minutes, it's always like bullshit, like, hey, how are you? You usually know the person or know somebody that knows the person. Then you talk about something important that you care about, which would be easy for you.
Yeah.
And then you're like, so how much money do you want to give me? It's literally that easy. And then it's a lot of emails and phone calls and follow-ups, but
Of course.
I mean, like,
Wow.
I was raising money for a theater. If I was raising money for an LGBTQ plus organization, it would be like what you're doing and where you've come from, your story, and what your plans are to help these kids and these families. Like, that's like such an easy sell. I mean, Bank of America, they're like, gay rights? Yes, throwing money at you.
Seriously. Like, go to Bank of America's website, contact us, media relations, someone in their communications department, shoot them an email. I'm an organization. I'm looking for money. Who can I talk to?
Yeah.
It's that simple. Yeah, and it's important. And like I said, the work that you're doing is just amazing and incredible. And people need to see and feel what it is that an organization like yours can do. How many lives you can change with this. And especially given the specific
Background.
type of background that you have and the people that you're looking to help. Right? It's just incredible.
I have to say, you guys are seriously opening my mind and my eyes up to opportunities. I think I have felt very unqualified because I've only been out for 3 years. And so I feel like this baby gay who doesn't know a lot and who has no idea if there are organizations out there that will actually help support queer people. And I don't even like, I literally still only know like 5 gay people.
That's okay.
I don't feel like a part of the community, really.
Let me tell you, Elena, if one thing you do now, is there a local pride happening in your area anytime soon?
Probably not.
No, it
Okay.
was planned and then
Okay.
was canceled.
Go to their
Yeah.
website and go look at all of their sponsors.
Oh,
Find companies that have already made a donation to organizations that support LGBTQ people
And look at their board of directors
and
because they have money.
start emailing people right away. All of those, every single one of those sponsors that were part of organizing that Pride event in your area, you hit them up with an email. You contact somebody in corporate communications and you say, I want money.
100%. You are not wrong.
That
damn.
is 100% an easy start.
Mhm.
Easy research, and you get your list and don't give up.
Okay.
Don't give up. Just do
Deal.
it. Because that's, people need to understand how important and vital the services of organizations like yours and nonprofits like yours provide to communities that are in desperate need, and especially those that are being impacted by the negativity and the horrible practice that is conversion therapy.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And I also want to say one more thing. Like you had mentioned that you feel like a younger gay or like a baby gay,
Yeah.
but like you have to realize where you came from,
Yeah.
and when you came out, you had a lot in your past. You're not a baby gay. You're an adult that has a history, a very strong and passionate history, and you chose to make this massive choice and come out while being a part of a crazy religion with a family of 4 and a husband. Like, you're not a baby gay, honey. You are a force to be reckoned with. And I'm not even
Absolutely.
fucking kidding. Like, I'm 100% honest.
Wow. Okay, I did not mean my intent was not to come on here to be so built up, but holy cow, you guys, I've needed to hear this for a long time. Thank
Well,
you.
Listen, we needed to
Thank
hear
you.
your story because your story is going to change a lot of lives.
Mhm.
And like I said, the services that you want to provide with an organization like the one that you founded is going to change lives. I know it. I know it's going to. You are driven by your experience, and I can tell that you're a very honest and amazing, beautiful person. And that's going to take you and your mission and your work places.
Truth.
Thank you.
And listen, I always say this to all of our guests. You come on the show,
You're part
you
of
are
the family.
stuck with us now. You are literally family. And if you ever need to come on, even if it's, hey, I got an important announcement, 5 minutes of your time, if we can put it on our social media, if we can share it with our distribution list, sending someone an email, you let us know. Anything that we can do, your family.
Donations.
Yeah, donations.
100%. So we ask this last question to everybody. So, hopes and dreams, not only for you and your family, but for your foundation. What are your hopes and dreams in the next couple of years?
Oh my gosh. Well, I told you about that conference in the family camp that I want to have.
Mhm.
Like, I just really have this envisioning of, because the third part of the foundation is the allies who love them. So I've had a lot of grandparents, aunts, and uncles, teachers reaching out, being like, I want to be an ally for this kid that I love, but I have no idea how to do it. What do all the letters mean? Like, they really they want a space, a safe space where they can ask those dumb questions and learn how to be a true ally. And so a lot of them have been saying, we want to go to that camp too. We want to
Mm.
bring our kids and let them be around everyone and see gay couples that are happy and see gay teenagers that are happy. So I just have this vision of being outdoors and having all these awesome classes. Like, I want to get a great drag queen to teach makeup.
Oh,
You know what I mean?
So basically, you want to have your own small conference
yeah.
Yeah.
And safe
and bring
space.
this to same thing True Colors does for us
Yeah.
Yeah.
here in Connecticut, and again, that's a great idea. Um, Youth groups definitely is a big thing,
Yeah.
especially with Mentor. I did that for some time, along with a few other people that I know within the LGBT community that were also counselors or case managers at one point.
Mm-hmm.
Um, just having that extra support, a space
Mm-hmm.
for the kids to come hang out, have a safe place to be who they want to be, especially
Mm-hmm.
teenagers in high school. We used to get
Yeah.
we used to get 30, 40 kids a
Wow.
week just coming to hang out. There was no curriculum. You got to do this, and just come hang out, talk to
Mhm.
the counselors, chill within, hang out with your peers, you
Yeah.
know, ask questions. I mentored a kid for some time, Matt. who was going through transitioning from female to male at the time, and it's just kind of connecting with that kid,
Yeah.
and just providing them with some support.
Mhm.
Although I know with Matt, his family was amazing
Oh,
with him, but
good.
he still kind of, he kind of gravitated towards me, and I was like, I didn't come here to
Mm-hmm.
mentor anyone. I just kind of hang out, and so I didn't expect that to be a part of what I ended up doing. But providing that space, I think, is a huge, huge benefit to the kids. Um,
Yeah.
Definitely within the high school community.
You
It's
know,
amazing.
it's funny that you bring up True Colors. So True Colors is a nonprofit here in Connecticut that does um, similar things. They have a conference every year for
And they also have a
LGBTQ.
national True Colors, by the
Hmm.
way,
Yeah.
that's statewide,
Hmm.
U.S. wide, like
But
national.
if
Nationwide.
you, so first of all, if you ever get around to creating this safe space and this safe summer camp where we can all go fly fishing, we
Yeah.
will
Yeah.
come. We will want to be there. But it's so amazing if you go to the convention to see these kids. They walk in this one shell of a person, and then they see all of this LGBTQ plus safety and love, and they
Yeah.
just like next thing you know they have like makeup on their face, they have a rainbow cape, they're just like living their life.
Butterflies and
Yeah,
unicorns
literally.
everywhere.
It is,
Yeah.
and it's so powerful to see all these kids
Yes.
finally feel like, oh my God, maybe I wasn't safe at home, because some
Right.
of these kids
Yeah.
don't feel safe at
Yeah.
home. But this is a place where I can be 100% me, and that
Right.
is so powerful.
And think
Yes, it
about what
is.
you said before. All the people that are reaching out to you, all the emails, your allies, people who want to be allies. You have teachers, you have professionals that you want to be an ally. Donate your time and use your profession to really help the organization.
Yep.
You've got a lot of teachers reaching out to you. They already know how to present in front of a group of people. If you've guys got a curriculum that you've put together that you want to present to a group of people, you have your allies right there who are willing and able. Use
Yeah.
them. Use those professionals to really bring forth an amazing program that will just make it an incredible experience for all of the young
Mhm.
kids and parents that you're trying to bring together and
Mhm.
spread the love.
And I will come teach a course on tinted moisturizer.
Yeah,
It's not makeup, it's
Hey.
tinted moisturizer.
you know. I can come and do a course on sound and podcasting, right? What better way for youth to get their message out there and to talk about their experiences than through podcasting or
For
through
real.
broadcasting? It's incredible.
Mhm.
I got a silly question. Are there
Hmm.
any Latino Mormons?
Are there any Latino Mormons? There's a whole lot,
Ah,
because there's a whole lot of Mormons in any community where you have
hmm,
struggle,
Mm-hmm.
basically. I mean, right? Like, I was ripe for it, right? Because I didn't feel like I belonged. So anytime where you have people that are struggling and trying to make things work, that's where you can find, right? Religions will pop in and try to
Mm-hmm.
convert them and say this is the answer to all your problems. The South American missions are the highest producing missions by far, as
wow.
far as converts.
Wow.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
remember
yeah,
living in Puerto Rico, and we
yeah.
would have, um, you know, people of the Mormon faith walk around neighborhoods and, just come in and say, "Hey, we would like to talk to you about,
Yep.
God, and can we come in?" And my mother would let them in, and then they would sit down, and she would pop open a beer and say, "Go to town." She was, yeah, she was interesting. Nonetheless, I mean, she still is, but yeah. So I mean, it makes sense that they're
Yeah,
all
but
over.
but my initial question has a follow up.
Okay.
I
Okay.
got follow up questions now.
Oh,
Proud of you.
Do you have bilingual people within your foundation to help any Latino children that are struggling with?
No. No.
She's
We
like
don't.
taking notes. I love this. Well, now you do.
No,
You have
I
two.
mean, I will say our vice president, she speaks Spanish,
Mhm.
but she's an ally. She's not LGBT. Um, so
Reach
I
Again,
out,
would say yes
yeah,
and no.
organizations. And I'm just thinking, with our group that we had when we had the children's group, social workers that work within adoption agencies that are pro LGBT are
Yeah.
great people to have on board. We had a police officer. We actually had two police officers that were on their time off. When they had the time, they would come and spend time with the kids and just hang out.
Yeah.
It wasn't a matter of just kind of giving them that okay, I need someone to talk to. I can relate.
Hmm.
Right.
Yeah.
Because not everybody's gonna want to go directly to the same person. You
And
know?
you're in
for sure.
Arizona, right?
I'm sorry, say it again.
You said you were in Arizona, correct?
Correct.
Yeah,
And
that
Arizona has a very large, I mean, depending
large
Yeah.
where you
Latino
go,
population. Yeah,
has a very large Latino population. And
Yes.
Mexican and is a large, huge population.
right.
Besides,
And aside from having to not only deal with the struggle of being Mormon and having confliction with who you are as a person, can you imagine
Mm-hmm.
also being Latino and the expectations of the community and
Yeah.
and the issues surrounding, for example, being undocumented or having to go through the process of DACA
Or
and
losing your
all
parents.
or losing your parents and all of that compounded on top of the fact that you're really exposed in an area that predominantly is pushing a faith that really
Mm-hmm.
is doing a lot of wrong to people. So um,
Yeah.
I can tell you, Elena, this has been mind blowing, and I knew I said to
Yeah, you did. I
I
know.
said to
I know.
Trish, when we start talking, this is going to be an amazing, transformative conversation.
I was like, so let's have a short show today. And he's like, that's not going to happen. I was like, you're probably right.
But, as all good things, they do have to come to an end at some point. And so before we let you go, I want to give you an opportunity to plug yourself, let our listeners and people know where they can find you. Tell us one more time the address for your foundation, where they can go online, and
Add that
what.
donate button.
That's right.
I was looking
I
for
gotta
it.
do
I really was.
And how they can find you. Are you on social
Yeah.
media? Anything that you want to tell us, we'll put it up there.
Oh, thank you. Yes. So the website is www.prideandjoyfoundation.com. And that's got all of our info and a soon to be donate button. And we are on Facebook. We've got a Pride and Joy Foundation page on Facebook. We have our group there where we do our online support group that you can join. And my happy place is Instagram. I mean, I was a former photographer, so that's just where I'm really comfortable and happy, right? So that's kind of where you see the behind the scenes stuff and you get to see my kids and my girlfriend and our life and all of that. And then I just joined Twitter. So it's Pride Joy Found on Twitter.
Okay.
And I'm trying.
Hey, listen.
Going back to that whole I'm awkward online thing.
No, you're fine. We have an Instagram, and like I've been so lacking. Ugh, God, I've been so bad about it. I can't even.
Yeah, we're also awkward on social media.
I'm not.
I am. So, Elena Joy, thank you. Thank you from the bottom of our hearts for coming on the show, telling us your story, and for doing all the great work that you're doing. And
Amazing.
you.
Keep
Yeah,
it
and
going.
feel free to reach out because we all have, specialties in different areas. If you want help with any type of fundraising, I'm more than happy to just chat with you if you wanted. Because I believe in your mission. I think it's an amazing foundation, and I look forward to seeing what's going to come of it. And your book, hopefully.
Oh, yes. Thank you so much. Thank you for developing this platform that serves the community in such a concrete way. And then thank you for passing the mic and letting me share my story. I really appreciate it.
It's been our pleasure.
Anytime. We'll see you again soon.
All right. Sounds good. Thank you.
You're
right.
welcome. All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, again, that was Elena Joy Thurston. She, of course, is the founder of Pride and Joy Foundation. We encourage that you go online, check her out and check out the foundation and help if you can. I know that, it's been a little bit tough for everyone amidst COVID because money is tight and stuff. But if you can, just make sure that you give it a check it out and help us out. So that was an amazing conversation.
Yeah, but we got to wrap this
She's
up.
awesome.
Didn't I tell you?
Awesome.
I tell you, it's like anytime we have any conversations regarding the Mormon faith, it's just so intense and so deep.
Hmm.
It's I can't.
I mean, just to think about what she went through.
Right. Hmm.
I mean, 4 kids, a marriage, and then coming out and conversion therapy. I mean, I came out at 16.
Right.
I don't have any kids. And that was hard enough.
You know what I'm happy about though in the end, what I'm most happy about is that after all of that and all that struggle, she got the girl.
She got the girl, and she's amazing.
And she's awesome, right? It's because that would have been really heartbreaking if she went through
Kudos.
all of that
Kudos.
transformation, all of that soul searching, and then ended up losing her best friend. She got the girl.
Mm-hmm.
Good for you, girl.
Proud
Good
of
for
you.
All right, so listen, we've got to move on. We've got to close out. So I'm going to toss it over to you because you've got Mama Kim's minute to talk about. Our beloved Mama Kim.
Do you have the gay talk term?
I've got one, yes.
All right, great. All right, so here we go, everybody. Mama Kim's minute. So number 1, Poland Stonewall, police attack and arrest queer protesters. What the fuck?
That's right.
Number 2, Trump campaign urged to make transgender youth the wedge issue of 2020. Fuck off.
I would
Fuck you.
see him try.
57-year-old man disowned by father after discovering he was gay. Again, fuck him. Number 4, federal court rules transgender students may have equal access to bathrooms. That's great. And then finally, number 5, man with a purse stopped from entering a casino because he might have explosives inside.
We all know what that was about.
Who is going to blow up their Louis Vuitton? Not me.
So you could have easily checked the purse and just say, okay, there's nothing in it, keep going.
Literally, that's a quote. Who's going to blow up their Louis Vuitton?
Unbelievable. Anyway, that is, of course, Mama Kim's Minute. We'll have those stories listed on tonight's post. You can click on those links and read them for yourselves. Now we're going to jump to our Gay Talk term, which is, of course, brought to you by
GayRealEstate.com.
It's okay. What is our Gay Talk term today?
Vampire.
Oh, vampire.
I like it.
And what is it?
As it states here, drooling. Sorry, I left my glasses. A drooling old man who swoops down on young stuff as they prepare to do, as they parade to and fro. Twilight. The vampires are out. Sorry.
I wonder if
screwed
that's where
that one up.
Twilight came from.
Probably.
So
title.
I just feel that
With all the glitter, gay man with all the glitter.
Yeah.
as I get older, I think I'm turning into a vampire. You know,
Swooping in and out.
swooping and out. Gotcha.
Well, Stephanie Myers just released her new book,
I saw that.
and I'm
I saw
listening
that.
to it, of course.
Of course. So,
All right,
All right.
so on this
Well-
day in gay history, of course, brought to you by
GayRealEstate.com.
is the LGBT pride flag was sent into space when? August 17th, 2016, where? Wisconsin. The U.S. charity Planting Peace launched a rainbow LGBTQ pride flag into space as a symbolic gesture to make space LGBTQ friendly. The flag was launched using high-altitude balloon with a GoPro camera attached and went 21.1 miles over the Earth's surface, remaining airborne for a total of 3 hours
So the pride flag flew. That's awesome.
in space.
That's great. All right, well, listen, ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you all for joining us on today's amazing episode. Our guest was just absolutely epic. If you love the show, make sure that you go subscribe, rate, and review on your favorite podcasting service. By subscribing, you get the latest and greatest of our show delivered right to your web browser or your device of choice as soon as our episodes are published. You can also support us on Patreon. Patreon is a service that allows you, our subscribers, to support the show with a monetary donation. Those donations are collected monthly and can be in any denomination of $1 or more. Javi, you want to do it?
Let's see. I lost it here.
Oh,
Of course.
next
My
week.
apologies, guys. Of
Mm,
course, I'm never ready.
It's all good.
Yeah.
that's okay. Elsie, I'm gonna start calling you Elsie.
Elsie.
And bring it into that microphone.
Here we go.
She needs her glasses.
Do I take it?
Next week, we welcome Britt East, author of A Gay Man's Guide to Life, part personal growth and development manual, as well as part memoir.
That's right. So we've got an author next week. It'll be exciting to have yet many more. I have a feeling like authors love us.
They just,
Right?
yeah, there's like a lot of books out there.
Yeah, I
So,
know. So
all right. Thank you,
Next-
thank you to our wonderful and amazing guest, Elena Joy Thurston, for joining us, the founder of Pride and Joy Foundation. We're super excited about it. We're going to post all of that information on our post tonight. And don't forget, Get your discount for the future method today. Each time you clean out with water or enemas, delicate tissues are harmed and cells are damaged, increasing chances of injury and or STDs. The first of its kind, doctor-developed formula that gently cleanses before you play without hurting your bum. And now you can use code GayTalk20 for 20% off, valid for one purchase or one subscription per person.
Gently cleanses. All right.
That is such a mouthful.
Shall we put a rubber on this episode? Javi?
Our show is now available on the website, gaytalk20.com, under show and episodes. It is also available as a free download on iTunes, Google Play Music, and Stitcher Radio.
All right. Nick announces you can find us on social media, Facebook, GayTalk 2.0, Instagram, GayTalk 2.0, Twitter at GayTalk20. You can email us at gaytalk2.0@gmail.com. Tom, take it away.
All right, and I would like to thank you all. Like I said before, if you need to reach out to us, you can just head on over to our website, click on the Contact Us tab located at the top of your web browser. There you can leave comments, you can suggest topics, you can submit a question for the cast or an individual host. You can also call us and leave us a voice message. We can answer your questions on the show for you. Just simply call 334-GAY-TALK. You can also, if you need all the digits, it is 334-429-8255. Don't forget that we do stream live every Monday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and you can access that live stream on digitalstreamradio.com. Ladies and gents, with that, that is our show. Thank you, and y'all have a good night.
Bye. Bye.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Gay Talk 2.0. Tune in next time for more dish.